Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Yo. All right. There we go. Hey, do me a favor, please. If you can hear me, man, I'm doing something new. Let me know, please. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm playing around I'm in my office today. Well, my other office. I don't want to make sure. Let me see something. Yo, yo, yo. Can you hear me? Let me know. Let me see something. It's okay. All right, give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Yeah, I just wanted to bust it up with y'all real fast, man. So give me a minute, man. If you can, quick hit the thumbs up button for me, man, so we could alert. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. What up, Ricky Skizzios? Damn, man, that'd be dope, man. YouTube need a feature where you could split the screen. You know what I mean? Like IG do a co-host type of thing. Can it do that? Can YouTube do that yet? Can you make a request to be a co-host if you want to share your screen with somebody? Let me see. If I click on somebody, you can put user and time out. Yo, YouTube is like slacking. That'd be super dope. Because I'm seeing now that the Zoom platform allows you to use multi-screen and go straight to YouTube. So YouTube could cut a lot of this stuff out if they just do multi-screen and allow people to share. What the hell wrong with them? And this is amazing how far like technology is still behind. You know what I mean? We can't even, you can't even get cell phone coverage all in the United States. You know what I mean? It's like still room for growth, which, pretty much leads me into this conversation of, is there a plan or are we as a system of humanity, are we infants? That's a question. You know what I'm saying? Are we infants? And I'm going to go with the latter, that there's no plan. I was having this conversation about, is it a design plan to stop our growth and fool the world? And, the wicked powers that be want to have all this power. And I'm like, I don't understand the power when people could be anything they want to be. Nobody's stopping us from owning anything we want to own and engaging in the endeavors that we want to engage in this day and time. And so I don't see it, especially with the education platform. Is it miseducation or is it just simply outdated? Because after education or even during education, I can do the Bill Gates move and say, oh, bump the hell school. I got an idea, as many people do that don't need school, and they can do their entrepreneurial thing and create success. Or you can finish school and create success. There is no checkpoint to say, okay, if they miss the trap of miseducation, how can we stop them from being successful? I don't see that. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on real fast and see something. But let's talk about something real fast, man. Inspired by Nikki Builder. That's here in the chat. The universe is a dependent. You know what I mean? And what do I mean by that? In this beautiful dance of yin yang, these forces of good, evil, black, white, they coexist. Male, female, these conditions are absolutely needed. The moment that you have anything in existence, anything, an atom, an electron, a photon, a proton, a neutron, anything, like if there was really a such thing as nothing, like just nothing, and then there's a definition of darkness exists in nothing. The mere fact that it's darkness gives you something. You see what I'm saying? And there's no such thing as nothing. Because the moment that you could realize nothingness, you just determine or define what nothingness is. So if nothingness is this, and the moment you do something else that's no longer nothingness, you just made nothing something. So therefore, every single thing is a state or condition, which now makes it dependent because all conditions must exist within something. Therefore, whether it be water needs two hydrogens and one hydrogen and whatever it is, H2O, two hydrogens, one oxygen atom, whatever it is, it needs something. Everybody needs somebody sometime, right? It goes back to this whole codependency. Very interesting. I was thinking the other day, I think about crazy shit. I was thinking, like, what if we had two mouths? Because we got two eyes, two ears, a left and right side of the body, two hands, two legs, and all that stuff. What if we had two openings? Because it's just the centerpiece that's singular. And that's something to study, Nick, dealing with the tree. The meaning, you would have to be familiar with the tree of life diagram. The center, whether it be mouth, is in the center of the body. If you take the tree of life diagram and superimpose it on the human being, the mouth is in the middle. Belly button was an opening that's taught inside of the Sufi mystic schools of Islam. That's an opening that got sealed up, the belly button. And then you got the sexual organ, which is, an opening. And you got your anal, which is, excretes matter. That's an opening. And then the body breaks back down into two again with your legs, right? And so the openings are all in the center, are all singular. And everything else starts to deal with this dual aspect. That's interesting. I was thinking about that the other day. What happens if we had two mouths? Why we got two ears and one mouth and whatnot? One mouth, rather. But there's an impossibility for anything to exist without a condition. Therefore, every single thing in creation is a codependent, like a child. It needs something else. It's yearning for a relationship. So therefore, the entire universe is relationship orientated. It yearns for a partner. It's like chemistry. You mix certain things, you get nice. You mix certain things, you don't get so nice, right? You can get an explosion. So everything needs something to coexist. Interesting. And we can see it on the most basic level of gender if we play by the rules of the laws of sexual reproduction. But hell, that's just in reproduction. Even if you are attracted to the same gender, again, that exchange of energy is a state of codependency. So I don't know if I could necessarily grasp the life of, be careful with this one. I'm fulfilled within myself. I get it. I'm not saying that you don't supposed to be fulfilled within yourself. And you absolutely need those spaces of solitude to know self intimately and to grow and to cultivate the inner light within. But there's a part of the, of creation that really is yearning for co-creation. Co-creation. Have y'all ever, when you like I'm a student of nature, right? Like I love watching animal channels. Like I see, so I watch the beauty of God, and I'll be like, yo, nigga, why did you get a gorilla a hand for his foot? Like monkeys, their feet, they got a thumb, and that's how they can climb trees like it's a damn hand. And it's not necessarily an error, but you can see where you like, nah, it's not like human. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the chimpanzee and the gorilla. It was like, you was almost there, buddy boy. You was almost able to keep walking upright without using, your forearms to walk on. And then sometimes, as you can see, they do that. They'll walk a few steps and do their thing before they hunch that back and get back down on all fours. And you just marvel at the intelligence, because you can see, for lack of a better word, evolution. I'm not connecting evolution in like, yo, we come from that or they from us. I'm not in that part. I'm talking about just the stages of the intelligence as it keeps manifesting, right? Until we get to this human experience that's supposed to be the supreme one. And this place is weird like that because, it's like supreme. Yeah, I get it. Man can create and do things, that other, things in creation can't do. But something as simple as, one of my favorites, a firefly, a lightning bug, like this dude can make his butt light up and then turn it off and then turn it on and turn it off. Or you start getting deeper into the jellyfishes, it's something called a Medusa jellyfish has the ability to, if you injure it, it could go back down to the bottom of the ocean and be reborn again. A starfish, if you cut off one of the tentacles of a starfish, it'll grow it back. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, yo, are we supreme? We can't do that. Once a limb get hit, we done. We amputate it, right? We don't do that, but yet we're supreme being. You know what I'm saying? And so it's this whole place is an oxymoron. And that in itself shows the dependency of what I'm talking about. The oxymoron of being like, you got to get on the tracing board and really mess with God, right? Like, hey man, I'm taught that God is all wise and all knowing and created every single thing. So therefore, naturally, I'm going to pose a question. Well, did God create the devil? Because if God created everything, then the devil has to be something. Now, in the moment that you tell me that the devil is created, and I'm talking on a very mundane level, physical, is created outside of God, then whoa, hold on. How do you create something outside of God when I thought God created everything? So that argument don't stand with me. So then it's like, okay, cool. You created them. You had to, because you all wise and you all knowing. I just want to explore this theory of God is all wise and all knowing. Then cool. Then that would make you a devil creator. Stop playing. You a devil creator. That's what you are. And I always like to go to the book of Job because something very interesting happens. The book says that, these men of God come up and the devil was behind them, and God didn't kill the devil. He didn't rid the earth of the devil. In fact, he asked him a question. He said, "What up, my nigga? Where you been at?" And the devil said, "Hey man, I've been slithering here or there, just going about my business." And so if you all wise and you all knowing, then what you mean where he been? You don't know? That's besides the point. But the beautiful thing is it's showing you the codependent state of, in this particular book, they styled it as good and evil. And this is very important to understand. In Job, and this is beautiful. It's in chapter 1. Job's wife is like, hey, don't you curse God and whatnot. And he was like, woman, you sound like a stupid woman. The evil is from God and the good is from God. Go check it out. That's what he said. And then the book said, for all Job said, he said nothing wrong. I was like, damn, that's deep. So Job said, I'm not falling for the trick of duality. Here we go. I'm not falling for this trick of good and evil. This is all God. What's the oxymoron? Something appears good, something appears evil. But if it's all one, because two states must exist. Back to the yin yang, male, female, two states must exist. This is why you gotta love math, because in math, they figure something out and they say, yo, there's this thing called prime numbers, right? Because mathematics is supposed to be either a fit or a don't. It's supposed to be factual. So there's this thing called prime numbers where they say a prime number is only divisible by itself. And of course, the number one. If you divide something by itself, it can only be the number one. So no other number can be divided into that number, and you get what we call an even number in a sense, or an odd number. So for example, 1, it can only be divided by itself. 2, like the number 3 is not in existence yet. So the number 2 can be divided amongst itself. 2 divided by 2 is 1, or 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 will be prime. 3. Okay, well, 3 can be divided amongst itself, right? Because you can't divide 3 by 2, because then you get 1.5, so you don't get a whole number. 4, wait a minute, 4 is interesting. I can divide 4 by 2 and get 2, and I can divide 4 by 1, right? And so therefore 4 is not a prime number, because the number 2 can be, divided into it, or 2 is a divisible number of it. 5. Okay. In other words, no number with the prime numbers, you can't take a number that's higher than 1 and times another number and get that number. So with 5, what times what equals 5? Only 1 times 5 equals 5. What times 3 equals 3? Only 1 times 3 equals 3. What times 4 equals 4? 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. Oh, so 4, get out of here. You're not a prime. You're not a prime. You see where I'm going with this? 6. 1 times 6, 2 times 3, 3 times 2, which is the same thing, and then you get 6, right? So you see where I'm going with this. 7, a prime. Nothing times each other equals 7, right? And so the beautiful thing about it is 2, as we are taught, is the only prime number in the freaking universe, man. Out of all the numbers are infinite. Because the moment that you say this is the last number, you can always go another 0. You just can't probably comprehend it. So technically, numbers are literally infinite. There's no ending to it, because you can always add one more to the last number, right? Hey, what's up, Adrian? So 2 is the only even prime number in existence. That's some heavy shit when you understand this. 2 is the only even prime. So to me, because the prime is only divisible by itself, which is the 1 is the God force energy, the 1. But the 2 make up the 1. Get it? The two make up the one. The two ain't nothing but one and one. And it's really cell division. And that's what happens inside of the human being. You can take one cell and then bam, it starts to divide, right? And multiply itself. Okay. And so this whole thing is an oxymoron, which I talked about on the last live, which in return makes it a very dependable thing. Now, I want to talk about something real fast, dealing with, because this whole thing is about coexistence and it's all about relationships, right? Because you would hear it where it's like, oh, get yourself together. We got to understand that every interaction with someone, what up, Ernest? Every interaction with someone produces an alchemical reaction. What do I mean by alchemical? One, there's a chemical reaction in the body, whether you make me happy and my body starts to secrete happy chemicals and dump it into my bloodstream, or rather you make me angry and my body starts to secrete negative emotions and chemicals and dump it into my bloodstream. So every time we touch each other, interact with each other, there is and this interaction can be by anything, conversation, text, whatever. There's a reaction that's taking place. In wave function, because you want to deal with energy, there's only now 3 states. This is the beauty about this shit, because first is 1 state, then it's 2, and the 2 are creating the 1, and then when you look at them, it becomes 3, which is known as the 3 pure ones in the Tao. Straight up, which is now in our modern time is the Migos. Oh, my bad. I was looking up and wondering why these cars were stopped in front of the office. So but anyway, and so this state, right? This state of 2 in these 3 states that we can exist dealing with energy. Either we're going in the same direction and we're going to propel each other and go forward. And that's what everybody is yearning for. Everybody, whether you want to call it love, you want to call it acceptance, everybody is looking for a push forward. And so we can either go forward, and we call this the tailwind, where you're traveling at 100 miles per hour, and then you catch a wind that's going in the same direction at 100 miles per hour. It now makes you seem like you're traveling at 200 miles per hour, and you get to your destination much faster because the energy is going in the same direction. A headwind is when energy is going in opposite directions, and you're going 100 miles per hour, and then the wind is blowing against you at 100 miles per hour. You just on a treadmill. You ain't going nowhere. It starts to reduce you. So there's energy that could reduce you, energy that could, push you forward, and energy that cancels you out is the 3rd state. That's really no good either, in a sense, because if I'm going, for lack of a better terminology, just imagine if I'm going 3 feet forward and you're going 3 feet back, you pull me back to 0. Even though I'm neutral, I'm not trying to be neutral. I'm trying to go this direction. So a neutral state of being, meaning we got 5 positive things and 5 negative things, and we neutralize each other out. That's not cool, because that means it's going to forever be an up and down tug of war. And what we're really looking for is the dependency of the tailwind, or what's known as constructive interference. You can Google that term when you study energy and waves. Constructive interference. You have constructive interference and you have destructive interference, right? And that's just what it is. that you have these states. So then within this dependent ass place that we live in, and I'm telling you, the IRS and them, they got it right. They call it dependence when you filing your taxes. So, and grown people can be your dependents. You know what I mean? Because people, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but we are dependent upon one another to execute. Anytime you have any form of a relationship or a business transaction, I want Amazon to deliver my microphone. I paid for it. I'm expecting you to deliver. Now I got expectation, right? I need it. Excuse me. And so to go one more step, now we have to figure out, well, what makes or determines, same thing, what determines the headwind and the tailwind? What determines if we're going to go forward, and what determines if we're going to go backwards? And I was so love to believe, and I am in my inner heart of hearts, I know it's the truth, that it's a decision that we make. And it's called, excuse me if y'all hear the banging, but upstairs is doing some plumbing work. I would love to believe that it's, a decision makes that. But now what makes the decision? Because is it us that's solely making the decision? Or is this decision have some type of, let's just say, some type of influence? Because it does. It has influence. And now we have to determine what is congruent or good for us, and what's not too good for us. And this is the beautiful thing, or why I love this particular science dealing with the zodiac, because it's all about energies that get along. It's all about energies that get along. So I'm gonna give y'all an old school homework assignment for yourself to study yourself and see if it makes sense. The excellent study will be to do the following. Then I'm gonna get out of here and go to the vegan spot, man. Go to astro.com and set up a free account. It's free. And once you put your birth data in, I want you to count the number of planets, sun and moon included, which would be 10. But I want you to count them in their elemental format, the signs that they're in. So if I'm an Aquarius, then that means the sun is an Aquarius, therefore it's air. And there's going to be this grid at the bottom of the chart that's going to say FAEW, but it's going to stand for like fire, air, earth, water. And it's going to have the planetary glyphs going across. And then you can just count up, how many planets do I have in fire? How many do I have in earth? How many do I have in water? How many do I have in air? And I want you to tally them up. And then also, because here come duality again, I want you to put the air and fire signs as masculine, and then I want you to put the water and earth signs as feminine. And so I want you to individualize them through the elements, and then the two of them make up, masculine energy, which simply means outgoing, can't sit still, ideas, let's do it, let's move. And then water and earth is the feminine energy, which simply means more intuitive, more of an internalizer, more stable, more practical in a sense. You see what I'm saying? And so tally it up and see what element you are the most of, cosmically speaking, and what gender, would it be more fire, or more masculine or more feminine? That's important to know, because the energy may not be your sun sign. It may not be your sun sign. And then that starts to give way to a different conversation. And this is why people got to know is deeper than just your sun sign. Oh yeah, Aquarius and Gemini get along great. Okay. But I promise you this, if that Aquarius had way more energy, 4, 3, 5 planets in Pisces, I know Pisces and Gemini is one of those. That's the two that I'm like, yo, those two, I don't think they ever figure it out. So the general rule of Aquarius and Gemini could go out the window because the Aquarian person has too much energy in Pisces, and Pisces to Gemini is a square, and that's a challenge. You see what I'm saying? And so tonight, do your energetic signature. Now, here's the key. You have to understand, me and Nick was talking about this, is all of, and I said it before, all of the signs are in you anyway, because each sign actually governs a bodily system. Capricorn is, the skin, and the skin and skeletal system. Those are two different systems right there. You know what I mean? Leo could be because Leo deals with the heart and the spine. So what does the heart do? The heart is part of the circulatory system, right? And so, bam, you see what I'm saying? Gemini is the lungs, so therefore that's respiratory. You see what I'm saying? And so we are cosmic man and cosmic woman, and I always say this: the 12 is inside of us, and once we realize that the 12 is inside of us, now we become the 13th, which means that's Christ that's rolling with the 12. So if you ever seen Jesus and his 12 homies, you're gonna be like, yo, it's 13, these 13 dudes is here. It's 13 of these cats. You know what I'm saying? But that one right there, he the one to be teaching, and the 12 just rock with him like that. But it's 13. And that's the goal, is for us to come online and understand that the 12 is ultimately inside of us. But within that 12, there's going to be more characteristics that you favor because of planetary energies were in these locations of space when you were born, thus activating the internal system inside, because the external universe is a mirror of the internal man and woman. Okay. All right. And when you're dealing with energy, all energy needs something else. Everything is made up of something. And not just something. Everything is made up of some things. What exists, like that which exists, is made up of something that's given it. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, it becomes what? Codependent. It becomes a dependent. So now that we just proved it, right? So that means that the universe, and I don't want to sound egotistical with this, but here we go, needs our help. What do you mean? The universe been here forever. How can it possibly need your help? Well, if it been here forever, and I'm not saying that it hasn't, what's our purpose? See, the beautiful thing about man in creation, in the movie, man is the director and the producer. You can put on any show, meaning you want to go to the moon or attempt to go to the moon. You want to try to go to Mars. You want to harmonize the planet. You want to sing a song to the sun and see if the sun will start blinking at you. You want to create a rainbow with your mind and see and meditate and see if a rainbow will appear. You see, you want to try to create an earthquake. You can do all these things. There's a teaching inside of the Nation of Islam where they were actually taught that what makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. The bottom line answer was all this was supposed to be created by the Son of Man. What do you mean you can create an earthquake? Was it metaphorical or is it literal? And I'm gonna tell you, it's literal. There's nothing metaphorical about that. That's very literal. You can create these things. You can create them. And so now we're here to direct this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful force of light, this intelligence. Because see, in the human being, and I'll take some questions. The human being is trying. Look at yourself. You got wisdom teeth, man. And our mouths and our brains do not have the capacity to bring in these 4 extra teeth. And these teeth are connected to cranial nerves. So you can look at the human being and be like, yo, just like the gorilla's foot is a hand, you can look at the human being and be like, damn, bro, you ain't there yet. Because there's 4 more teeth that's trying to come in and you don't have the capacity. So what does that mean? The human being is in the process of evolving and expanding because, again, teeth are connected to nerves in the brain. So we're in the process of expanding and going to a bigger capacity of some sort. And now we have to determine what is that capacity? What does that future look like? What can we do to direct the current in knowing that it's trying to come online? What can we do to direct it to expand? You know what I'm saying? So if it's about love, then what have we done to show love on a global level, or even bump a global for humanity and national for those of us, in on the soil? And this is why I'm gonna go back to the 1987 harmonic convergence. Zigzagger, what up? We got to get to a point where we can all come together and shoot one collective, coherent thought out into the ether and make a phone call to God. I'm telling you, we will see something totally amazing. Totally next level. I'm talking Million Man March style. I always say it because I can just see it. Million Man March style. And you got millions of people, and you say, everybody look up at the sun. And I just want you to say, and let's get in this rhythm. Now let's ask the sun to start flashing and keep saying, Everybody send a purple ray of light to the sun right now. And that sound just get in the cadence and the rhythm. Man, bro. Man, you want to talk about a DNA upgrade. But see, these things could be accessed within very small pockets of your own community, though, because it starts with self. You can, man, we've done some tremendous work with just 7 people before, all the way up to 30 something, on trips. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the sincerity of your intention. Okay. All right. So therefore, if you got any questions, man, let me know. Should put them in the chat. Since the universe is dependent, be nice and be kind. And if y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all who on science. Y'all had to tell Jew, like, yo, you would never believe, bro, who is on science. It'll blow your mind. Mike Tyson. Yo, y'all gotta watch Mike Tyson podcast. I'm serious, man. I got you, Tom. y'all gotta watch this Mike Tyson podcast, man. Like, yo, you want to talk about especially men, you gotta watch it because you get to a point, and maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. You get to a point where it's the point of surrender, which is great because now this is where you allow yourself to receive. The masculine energy just wants to project and go, go, go. The feminine sits back and wants to receive. The vessel wants to receive. When you get to a point where you can surrender ego, you get to a point where you start to contemplate the pain, the internal pains you have physically and or mentally, and have inflicted or have been a part of other people's pain, the wrongs that you've done, the self-accusing spirit wants to let it go. That's your judgment right there, your own judgment day. So you get to a point where you want to release it and let it go because you can't carry it no more. You can't. It's too heavy for you. You can't. And if you don't, it's fine. You definitely will reincarnate and you will do it again. So for men that's listening, I strongly urge you to watch the Mike Tyson podcast because he talks about the deathless state that he was in, and the death state he was in by taking some toad poison with a shaman and being able to get into a higher state of consciousness and learning how to surrender the ego. And he damn near cries every time he tells the story. And I can totally relate to that, man. I can totally relate to that because they tell you from 40 to 42 on average, really 40 to 44. This is when planet Uranus in the sky is in complete opposition to where it was when you were born. And this is known as the midlife crisis period in your life. Yeah. And the midlife crisis period is a mug. It is. So look into it, man. All right. So Tom Money had a question and he asks, I saw another question Tom Money had. My Pluto's in Scorpio. What does Chiron mean? Chiron is said to be the wounded healer. It's an asteroid that denotes where you were wounded in the past life and how you must heal. However, if you go to the Magi Society, they give Chiron a total different definition, and it would deal more with soulmates and love. And I've seen it work both ways. So I don't read Chiron. It takes Chiron 50 years to make a transition, or one full circle rather. And Chiron was discovered in 77. I like to say I brought Chiron to the world when I was born. So it hasn't made one full revolution, but that doesn't mean you can't understand its energy. You know what I mean? But there's one major popular definition: wounds, how you were wounded, and it shows how you must heal. So let's just say if I got Chiron in Leo, then I was wounded possibly in the heart or in the back, because Leo governs those areas. So I would look in that area first. Then I'll start looking at the definitions of Leo, love and children. So maybe one of my children hurt me, or something that deals with my children and love is part of my healing process. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the popular definition of Chiron. All right. What does Scorpio and Pluto mean? So it's the other way around. It's Pluto and Scorpio. The planet must appear in front of the sign. So the planet goes first. But I understand what you're saying. So Pluto's at home in Scorpio. So therefore, the tendencies and all of the definitions of Pluto or Scorpio, which are the same, Look at the zodiac signs as a house. And the planets are the landlord, the owner, the ambassador of the energy. So Pluto is Scorpio. Okay. And so you look at the definitions of that. So Pluto and Scorpio is very magnetic, very deep, very mystifying, someone who can figure out things. They will penetrate in, because, Scorpio represents things that are hidden, plumbing, sewer systems. So it knows how to build systems that you don't see. You see what I'm saying? That are absolutely necessary. A surgeon know how to cut beneath the skin and get inside of the inner man. That's Scorpio. Sharing money, loyalty. I said joint finances already. It's a very deep sign. I think the three most versatile signs, in my opinion, are Scorpio, Leo, Sagittarius. And I got to add Gemini in there too. Cannot not put Gemini in there. All right. Wonder why he said his children don't like. Whose children don't like black people? Who said that? Yeah. Yeah, so if you got a question real fast, drop it in the chat, man. I just really wanted to see what it looked like in here at nighttime. I'm down there. You probably can see my little sign on my window and stuff. I just wanted to start. Ain't no problem. I'm gonna start shooting stuff down here. At the office, man. I just got more space down here. Versus my home office, and gonna set up some multiple camera shots and stuff and really start having some good dialogue and whatnot. All right. Devin Lux, what's a Sun, Mars, Saturn conjunction like? Ooh, man. Oh, I got you, Gemini 5. All right. So what's a Sun, Mars, Saturn conjunction like? So let's look at it. The sun is the boss. The sun is like, listen, all the planets, you revolve around me. I am the light of the world. I give you your sun sign. Your sun sign ain't based off of all these other planets' locations. It's based upon where you see me at, or where you think you see me at, which is a whole nother. That's a good conversation to have, because the sun ain't moving in front of these signs. The earth is moving around the sun, therefore giving the illusion that's in front of these signs. But it's so amazing because you do get different personality types based upon the illusion. God damn, boy, I gotta wrestle with that one. And I wrestle with that one a lot. So sun is the boss, creativity, self-expression, fatherhood, masculine, daddy, Apollo, back in the Greek mythology. Your divine willpower. Okay. Saturn is like, yo, I'm authority. I'm government though. And the sun is like, yo, I'm the king. But Saturn is like, nigga, I'm Satan. I'm Saturn. I'm government. I'm authority. I slow down. I'm cold. I rule wintertime. I'm cold. I contract. The sun is like, nigga, I'm warm and hot. So these are battle of two different forces, man. Mars is like, oh, I'm energetic. I want to go. Very kind of synonymous with the sun because it's a fiery energy. But it's so, Mars is like the, for lack of a better word, the immature young prince. He's not the king. He's the prince. He's the knight. He's a warrior. But I always say, when everybody else was scared, because all the other zodiac signs, everybody got their respective zodiac number, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12. Everybody was scared, but Mars and Aries was like, shit, I'll go first. I'm gonna set it off then. Everybody else ain't moving. So Mars is the great igniter. So now you got the great igniter, the great fighter, the fiery passion, with the sun, which is my personality, and Saturn on the other side that says, yo, don't rush, take your time, and you can have it all. Because Mars is, I want to run down the hill and have sex with one of the cows. When I hear that in Colors, I remember Colors. And then it was like, no, let's walk down the hill and have sex with all of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Saturn is. So this conjunction gives you a great deal of energy. There's times you can sprint and do the 50-yard dash and get it done. And there's another time that this is cross country. And you absolutely, with Saturn involved, you need to think for the long haul. And with this amazing group of energy, Sun, Mars, Saturn, this gives you the ability to run the marathon faster because of Mars and Sun at a faster rate than the average person could do. So you got to have something of longevity, a goal, which is the marathon, and then the two energy factors of Mars and Sun allows you to run at a faster pace. So, you know, rest in peace, Nipsey, but that alignment is a marathon all day long. It's not a 50-yard dash, it's a marathon. So you have to define what your marathon is, bro, when you got that alignment. All right. And don't you ever, it ain't got nothing to do with fear. It has everything to do with prolonging life. You could that alignment could represent conflict with authoritative people, police, people who are bosses, and martial, because Mars is martial, pistols. Saturn is government, so government and pistols. Oh, that's the police. You see what I'm saying? And the Sun is authority too. Now here go, and that's the boss. So it's already a big boss complex dealing with Sun and Saturn, and that also means you're the boss though, because it's your energy that's all conjoined together. So you're a boss, and you must think longevity. And you must be diligent enough to knock it out and get those goals. I love that marker, because if anybody's going to do it and last a long time, it's going to be that. All right. Gemini 5 was like, yo, what about Saturn conjunct North Node in Synastry? Ooh, wee, man. So, all right. So in a relationship, I don't care the dynamic of the relationship, mama, daddy, lovers, family, it don't matter. That's what synastry mean, when you're combining two people. So the North Node represents what you're here to do and learn, what your soul must get to become complete. And Saturn is about lessons. So these energies are really synonymous. The North Node has a Saturn feel to it. The problem that I'm gonna have with this though is it's not going to feel good at all, because one part of Saturn is about retention and restriction, and then the North Node is about growth. Then it's like, well, shit, I can't grow because you block at me. And energy is a two-way street. It may not be the Saturn person that's doing the blocking. This is very important to understand this. The Saturn person may be the one that's on their soul's journey within something, and they feel like they can't get ahead with this person who has the North Node in the same position. So just because it's your Saturn don't mean that, you know, you're not you're not the one that's filling the node. You're feeling like your partner. Energy is interchangeable. The story must play out. If I tell you somebody be Romeo, somebody be Juliet, I don't care who is what, but y'all better pick. So you can decide, y'all can decide which ones y'all gonna be. You don't have to be one just because, you know, you favor that one. You know what I'm saying? And so the high side of it is really supposed to represent patience and growing, really growing at the deepest level. To me, it would be like a Jada Pinkett, Will Smith type of vibe. And what I mean by that is there's a time where Jada said, she was like, yo, I think it was her 30th birthday. I'm out. I can't do this like this. Something's going to change. So she felt restricted, like she wasn't her. And something had to change, had to go through this breakthrough. But then you had Will on the high side that can be like, okay, well, do what you got to do. And him having to go through his own ego and letting go and trusting the process in a sense. That built a deeper affection and a deeper bond. That's what it's really supposed to look like. Where there's, me and Ju was talking about this earlier today, where there's some form of a conflict where you can become the butterfly out of the conflict. You know, so Saturn on North Node and Sinistry, that's tough. But as long as people, it always boils down to goals. Trust me, you got to have goals in life. Without goals, without a vision, people perish. Without vision, you turn against each other because energy must move. And either, you know, we're going to destroy each other, or we're going to be mediocre, or are we really going to win? You know what I mean? And it's just what it is. So I that placement's tough, but it's supposed to represent growth, because Saturn is lessons and karma, and then the North Node is soul's mission. It's not a lovely marker. It's not. It's very karmic, very karmic. It actually denotes that, you know, this could be another round of some intense karmic stuff that the parties gotta undergo. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make the decision if you're going to transform and stay in, or transform and break away. And that's a tough call. It's tough. Okay. What can be done to overcome Saturn and Aquarius in the second? Squaring Mercury, Venus, and Pluto and Scorpio in the 10th. In the second, and so I'm assuming, yeah, Scorpio. The good thing is the second and the 10th house are synonymous. The house structure wise, they both deal with career and money. Usually your career pays you the money. So the house placements get along, but the tightness of the orb of the planets in relationship to one another is a square, which Johnny Williams is asking the question of you know, overcoming this square. And we had this conversation earlier where, how do you reconcile a square? Mathematically, it can't be done, because if two things are 90 degrees away and you say, hey, let's stop beefing and coming at each other sideways, let's meet in the middle, that's 45 degrees. And 45 degrees is a semi-square, which is half a square, which still is a slight agitation. The problem with the square is, imagine a wall clock. If you are born at 9 o'clock, the way that you look out at everybody, like to your left is 10 o'clock, to your right is 8 o'clock. So the way you see the world around you at 9 o'clock, straight ahead is 3 o'clock. So imagine everybody just holding hands in a circle, and everybody's at one zodiac sign. You got your neighbors, one neighbor to the left, one neighbor to the right. And you're facing from 9 o'clock, you're looking at 3 o'clock, and the person at 3 o'clock is looking back to you and saying, hey, I'm your opposite if we were all to come together. The square at our 9 o'clock position, the square is either at 6 o'clock or 12 o'clock. These two people see life on a vertical plane, and we see life on a horizontal plane. So this is a T, literally the capital T, or the lowercase t to be precise, because the east-west is going to crash with the north-south. And the square represents when the east-west wall meets the north-south wall and form a corner. Now, if we could get to the point of consciousness and understand that the square, we We may agitate each other. And that agitation simply is because this whole thing is about spatial perception. The way I see shit and I handle things, you don't handle things the way I handle things. And we don't, and in fact, I don't even like how you handle it, and you don't like how I handle it. So it's a real distaste that's there. And again, I would like to think if we can have goals and even understanding that we're going to have friction, what is our agreed upon conflict resolution? Because by the law of the square, we're going to have some problems. And so we got to have something we got to have a fire extinguisher on deck that states that, okay, when this shit get hot, we both got to make a conscious agreement to say, oh, it's too hot. And we got to, we got to take a bath and light candles, and we got to chill, because that's our agreement on how we circumvent shit. We don't never live. Our love for one another is our primary focus. That even when we get in disagreement, we have to put that fire out before it goes to the next level. Right? I would say to reconcile it for you, though, because of your house placements, 2 and 10 are synonymous. Focus on what do you like? What is success for you? And what is and I mean by, and what is monetary success? Like that you can't ignore that when you got a second house placement. You can't ignore that when Scorpio's involved and Scorpio deals with joint finances. Scorpio is the joint bank account. Scorpio is the insurance policy. When I die, I'm gonna leave you some money. So you can't neglect the financial aspect of what's going on here. You have to marry those two and figure out the correct group, Aquarius, the correct group to be a part of. Because I'm an Aquarius and I have some Scorpio, but I'm an 8th house Aquarius. And I'm that generation that got Uranus and Scorpio, so that's a square. But for me to reconcile the own energy within self, because these signs are different subject matters that we have an interest in. And so if Scorpio is joint finances and stuff, then it may be great for me to get in some form of investing. So then, real estate became a thing. And then since I'm an Aquarius, let's do it as a group. And so for us, what I'm doing in the prosperity investment group, like I got a rental house that it needs fixed. So what is it? Like maybe 11 grand to fix it. You know what I mean? Now I can fix it and get all the income myself, or I can get with friends or family and be like, listen, man, out of this 11 grand is about 30% of the total deal. I'm willing to sell this 30%. And this means you get 30% of the rent for life. As long as we got a tenant, and if we sell it, you get 30% of the profits because you're 30% partner. We're not 50-50, but we 70-30 because again, was the cost of what's needed to fix it. I don't necessarily have to come out my pocket because you got it. And that's 30% of the deal. So now you just be a 30% partner. So things like that work for my Aquarian Scorpio thing because it's about the group. And then the one aspect of Scorpio, then it's about the joint financial aspect. So you got to find that medium of groups or friends or serving humanity as it pertains to finances, bro. That's how that works. All right. Man, yeah, you're welcome, man, for sure. Oh yeah, and they square in Saturn. Man, that sound like my chart is very similar. Mine's is in opposition to Saturn. So I got this 8th house energy, which is the Scorpio house, and then Saturn is in the 2nd house, which is the money house, in opposition that's given me or wants me to focus, you know what I'm saying, and really build it. So what you got to understand though, see, the square is responsible for building physical buildings. You know what I mean? Every corner has a square. You know what I'm saying? You can see that square behind me. You know what I mean? Like every corner has a square. So therefore, squares are necessary to build buildings. You have to take the point of the square, or the corner of the square is your goal. All right. It depends, man. And it depends. It depends. But you know what? It's on my astrology coach. I think last year's readings is still up for like 222. And that was actually 2 years ago. I didn't change it. That's from like 2018. It's on myastrologycoach.com under readings and whatnot. But yeah, anybody else? If you have time for one more, what about Saturn in the second, Jupiter in the eighth? Oh, snap, right? So this is interesting, Gemini. So, I got Saturn in the second. Saturn in the second, Jupiter in the eighth. This was in mythology, and this was called the Clash of the Titans, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because the Olympian War was Saturn overthrowing Uranus, and the Titans is about Jupiter overthrowing Saturn. So this is a classic battle between father and son. One wants to expand. Jupiter wants to expand. Jupiter in the eighth means somebody could die and leave you some big money. And you really should be dealing with insurance policies yourself, because you can set your next generation up. There's a concept called family banking that a lot of people use insurance policies to, they can pull money out and things of that nature to start setting the family up. But you got a big inheritance that could be coming your way. You can leave one, and you are really good with, you can be really, really, really good with other people's money, meaning like you're an accountant or something like that. Now, Saturn in the second denotes that you absolutely must master finances. Wherever Saturn is at, I'm telling you, that's low key your secret career passion. The placement of Saturn. That's been my experience. That is low key. You, without a shadow of a doubt, you have to study that area, and you got to man up. You got to take, and that's what Saturn is. Saturn's about responsibility. So Saturn in the second demands that you boss up and you learn finances. You have to become financially savvy. And so the opposition is a delicate balance between being conservative, Saturn, and being optimistic and more jovial and let's go for it all, Jupiter. So you got to find this balance with so there's only three forms of investing, right? There's growth, where you're not really getting no money right now, but when the asset appreciates in the near future, it could be a house that you about to flip, and there ain't no money in it right now, but you're gonna flip it and it's gonna be done in 60 days. Now that thing is worth some money. There's the growth component, when things appreciate over time and it's not paying you immediately. So it has future appreciation. Then there's the income side, where it's already there. It's probably not going to appreciate too much more, but you getting top dollar rents for it right now. So you're getting a dividend, you're getting a payment. That's income. And then you have a mixture of those two called growth and income, where it could be like, you know what? It's going to grow it's going to grow pretty fast, and it's going to bring a dividend at the same time. And that people call that balanced investing. When you have Jupiter and Saturn in the money houses and they're in opposition, you should have pretty much all three of those strategies down packed. But everybody should have those three strategies. But it's mandatory that you have a balanced portfolio in finances. For sure. You got to have a balanced portfolio. Yep. Scorpio moon. Yeah, Saturn in the eighth house. Now, Saturn in the eighth can denote that there's some money trying to get to you when somebody died and there's some type of blockage. So you have to make sure that if mom and dad have you on the will, make sure that you dot all the I's, cross all the T's. If you went through that school where you changed your name and stuff, like, you got to make sure the documentation is up to date and up to par, because there could be some type of blockage. And a person who got Saturn in the eighth absolutely you should know about trust and LLC formation in order to protect your assets and not go through, because see, Saturn is government and limitations, and now here's an inheritance, and now here comes a probate issue, because the eighth house is death and inheritance, and Saturn is government. And so I see this every day when people are losing houses and issues like that because of just probate type of stuff. Or I see it. I got something right now, a house that it's not probated yet, but dad didn't leave a will. And now there's a blockage that's there. You see what I'm saying? So with Saturn represents take care of your business. Eighth house, those kind of affairs, life insurance affairs, like that, insurance policies, take care of business. Don't you dare wait, is that energy. Okay. All right. So how about the Saturn in the first house in Leo? The first house, they say, is how people see you. First house is, I say, it's how you start and go off in the world. Saturn means is you're older. I got Saturn in Leo too. Saturn in the first house to me denotes someone who's very mature, older. Leo, maybe, and it's just maybe, it's a generalization. You don't want to be too hard on the kids, because the Saturn energy feel like you don't do nothing, or you are restricting kids, the children, or restricting love. But Saturn don't do too good in Leo, not at all. It doesn't like to be there. So the balance is, how do you channel hard work and success in your love life and children's life? And I think you have to be the cornerstone of support that's there once that child or lover perhaps find that passion, that fun, because that's what Leo is. Then you can say, oh, you want to be a baker? Then bake me a cake, and let's here goes some money. I'm investing in your bakery. I'm supporting you, because Saturn is about foundation. So the negative side is like, it's too hard and too stern. And you know what that does? That makes people turn away. So you got to find a delicate balance between love life and children and success, and figure out a way of how to integrate that inside of the equation without being so serious all the time. Saturn and Leo, it's because Leo is so warm, it's ruled by the sun. It's so warm and loving and fun, and Saturn is so serious and cold. So you got to find something that makes it warm. All right. First house, all that stuff, the true node in the first house, man. That means you got to put yourself first. It's okay to be selfish in this lifetime, because the South Node is in the seventh house, which is relationships, which means you could have lost yourself in a relationship last time. When you got energy in the first house, you are to be selfish. You have to develop this strong sense of self and do things for self and get the ball started. And it's okay, because everything has its place. So if you got first house energy, focus on being selfish, not in a derogatory, nasty way, but in a way that's going to advance you. Okay, that's what that is, man. Yeah, you got it hitting, Murphy. All right. So put a couple in real fast. I'm gonna make a run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right. All right, what you got, man? What time is it, man? Let me see. What we doing for dinner, man? Let me see. Hold on, man. Let me see what we doing for dinner. All right. 720. Yeah, so you gotta pull it up, man. You gotta know your specs, Vanessa. So I'm not like I don't have I don't have the Astro up and stuff. You gotta know where your placements are. Jupiter and Scorpio. I got some of Scorpio energy, and I'm a Leo. So in Scorpio and Leo, that's another square. You know what I'm saying? Is Virgo a money sign? I have Jupiter and Venus conjunct 10th. So Virgo deals with work, right? Work. Nobody can outwork a Virgo because it's a sign of work and daily habits, routines. Michael Jackson, Beyonce, and I dare about to put somebody else in here in this Virgo thing, man. And that's gonna be my partner DJ Envy. That dude be working. That dude be working. Like, yo, wait a minute, dude. You be DJ. You a host at the Breakfast Club, and you doing freaking car shows, and you doing real estate workshops, and you and your wife got a podcast that y'all don't miss, and y'all still be taking like what at least 4 trips, family trips a year, and you and your wife do a trip. Like, where the hell you get time to do all this? Like, you know what I mean? And you out in the field looking at real estate and buying real estate. Like, it's like that schedule has to be crazy. But that's what the Virgo does. It works, work. So we work usually for what? Monetary gain. So although the money signs are said to be Taurus and Scorpio, the joint finance with Scorpio, the earth signs, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, you're all doing it for monetary gain. So there is definitely a monetary component to Virgo. So with having Jupiter and Venus conjunct in the 10th, John Jones, bro. If Jupiter and Venus is close to each other, that's $1 billion marker. I got it right here on this channel, pin. That's Beyonce and Jay-Z got that marker in synastry. His Jupiter was right. Check this out. Was at the right hand of the Virgin when he was born, and Beyonce's Venus is right there at the hand of the Virgin. And so when you put them together, that's $1 billion. You're born with this energy by yourself. So you get to define how big and grander this thing is, because Jupiter is large and Venus is warmth and love. And so you get to Tip is a Libra. You get to Joe Budden. I've been thinking Joe Budden was on with Wale, and he was like, "Yeah, you're Virgo," and I'm like, "Yeah, I got another sound bite. I'm about to get them on." But that's a big placement, and in the 10th house represents success and career. So, man, listen, man, you supposed to be super rich. If you got it, whatever it is that you want to bring, you could it, and you will always survive scandal. You one of those people that you can do the worst thing in the world, and it's something about your energy where you would bounce back from it. You're the perfect person that can do PR campaigns for people. Like, that'd be your shit. Like that you'd be really, really good at launching public campaigns for people, public relations for people with that. So that's a nice marker. Who had that marker? John had that marker. Who said they had that marker? Yeah. You had that marker and whatnot. So you just got to channel it. Virgo is really musical too, man. For real. It's a musical trait, and your love and passion could be right there. You know what I'm saying? I haven't looked at the Draco charts in a while. I just haven't. So I don't have no opinion on them. I can't recall. I've seen them before years ago, but I haven't looked at them. Yeah, so this is an easy time. If it's a trine, then I mean this is an easy time for you to tap in, right? Because Jupiter being in Capricorn right now, if anybody got anything in Earth signs, then this is more of the easier time for us to tap into this energy and get some of these big blessings, man. These big blessings. All right. Straight. I'm getting hungry. I gotta bring my son in, and it got dark out there. But yeah, man. So I just wanted to share with y'all, man. You know, the universe is dependent. Everybody's dependent. We can't even breathe without air. Then the lungs can't expand and can't contract, and all the different chemicals that we made of. I mean, it's obvious this whole thing is because everything's interrelated, and we need something else. It's just all, it's all dependable. So all this thing about independence is only to a certain level, because even in our independence, you have to fight against people to prove that you're independent, right? Like, no, I can do it by myself. I ain't gonna rely on nobody. Or you gotta fight for your physical freedom and become this new country. And like, you still need contrast to define what your new state is. And that's really my whole point. You know what I mean? Right. It's interdependence. And so we have to make the best out of it, of what we can, for sure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, with that, man, get at us, man. Get at us, man. There's an awesome book that we wrote. I'm gonna get some in stock, man. I'll just be leaving it on the internet. But it's on Amazon. It's called Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century. Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century. Awesome pictures in there. The authors of it is the Inner Peace Lighthouse, which is myself and Minister Jew. And it's a book that poses questions. What is the soul? What is, these various questions? And it's dope, man. It's really dope. And I got some pictures that I put in there that are really cool, and that deals with the spiritual accord. Hey, hold on, Jew. What up, man? I'm about to say Facebook. I'm on YouTube, about to wrap up. What's good?
Oh man, what you building up on, man?
Oh man, he's talking about the universe is dependent. It's like a child. It's dependent because everything depends on something else. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, people can hear you, man. Say what up, man. I'm giving a shot. I'm giving stuff now. We about to get out of here.
What up with the man? Appreciate it, man. Y'all know we'll be dropping some juice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Late. Yeah. We about to get out of here though. But yeah, I hit you right back, bro.
Okay.
All right. And so yeah, check the book out, Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century. I'm gonna answer that question, and I'm for sure out of here, El Moro. You can get with Minister Jew. You know what I'm saying? He had the Imagination Guru, man. I watched this dude never repeat the commentary in his memberships, where it's typical of this classic Gemini. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just always something new. And it's not that he don't talk about it, you'll never hear it again. That's not the case, but it's just very interactive on the plane of mentalism. And the initial purpose was to clean up the mental faculties and understanding how it works. And once you, with that, stay in the loop, and there has to be a jump. We always talking about, like, it may be impossible for a lot of people to get to financial prosperity and happiness when you have all these other anchors weighing you down, right? So that can be hard to attain and whatnot. Because in my head, I'm like, man, listen, I'm good with trying to identify problems and diagnose that shit. Like, nigga, I got apartment buildings that we working on, houses that we working on. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we need to be getting some revenue and start setting up generational wealth. and systems in place that make it easier for the ones coming behind us, literally, you know what I'm saying? So they don't have to go through these things that we go through. And that's where I come in with the Prosperity Investment Group, you know what I'm saying? But inside of that too, there's some hidden jewels that deals with family meditation that you could do by yourself, that, you know, that heals the family component in your mind, which will create a random external event for the family to heal. So it's kind of like praying for somebody, and it works. And Spirit is telling me to share a story with y'all about this prayer. There's a prayer done by Dr. Leonard Leo Bovici. It's called retroactive prayer. Google it, retroactive prayer. And about 3,393 patients were going to be prayed for, and they were going to classify the patients in 3 categories: how fast they recover, their death rate, and how fast they go home. And in all 3 categories, the people who were prayed for improved faster versus the people who wasn't prayed for. And this study happened from 1990 to the year 2000 to 1996. So it was a 6-year time span. Now that makes sense, because it's like, hey, well, people who get prayed for, you sending positive energy their way. Okay, cool. The irony about it, to me, it's the dopest study ever. These people who got better between 1990 and 96, they didn't get prayed for until the year 2000. So in some cases, 10 years later, in some cases, 4 years later. So anywhere from 4 to 10 years later is when they would get prayed for. So that means something new that this group of people was going to get prayed for. Can you really imagine that? That there's a group of people who are going to get prayed for, and then they get better, but they're not going to get prayed for until a few years later, as if something new that these people were specifically singled out and prayed for. Well, dealing with, and that's, and the reason I brought that up is because the mind, when you imagine people and you're doing this work that you can do with your family. I got this meditation that we do in the Family Wealth Club called the Family Vault. You're in this room and some things going on. It's one of the, listen, low key, I swear to you, I promise you, I feel like when it comes to audio production, guided meditations, I'm like Dr. Dre. Seriously, I got some dope sounds that I made off some keyboards. And then let's just say, for example, you count money. I can go get a money counter or money, you know, or you visualizing the elephant. You ask anybody that been rocking with me and they got the golden forest technique, and they all of a sudden you're gonna hear elephant sounds, because I'm just taking natural stuff and, you know, editing it and putting it inside these productions to help go along on a journey. But back to the point, you could your thoughts can affect people. But now when you're dealing with family, there's a time of the month that you can really execute this energy. So I'm saying that to say, within the Family Wealth Club on the Prosperity Investment Group, man, thank you, appreciate that, El Boki. Certain things are astronomically timed and in alignment of doing these particular practices. Now, I don't get on there and necessarily talk about the astrology stuff, because I'm really more or less focused on the physical mechanics of understanding deal structure, because I know we suffer with understanding finances, and we have to stop that. And that's my new passion, is to, you know, listen, man, I've been doing spiritual trips and taking people on retreats ever since March of 2011 was our first trip. And I've been doing 3 trips a year. So last year in 2019 was the first year that I said I ain't doing no trips. And so you figure from 2018 and all, you know, and 10 was the first year. So what's that? You know, shit, I don't know, 24 straight consecutive trips. Boom, 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 boom. And sometimes we did more. Dealing with meditation and mountains and stuff like that. God has blessed me with understanding that information and being able to convey that information in a way where people can apply it and improve their lives. But then there was another part of me called Saturn in the second house that came on, because I got Neptune in the sixth, which is work, and Neptune is spirituality. So I can do spiritual work. There ain't no thing. But then I got Saturn in the second house that supports that. And Saturn in the second house for me denotes that I have to become financially mature. And I had to find the right vehicle for my aspirations and my goals, because I'm also born with Jupiter in Taurus, which is big money. But I got an 11th house, which means that's groups of people. I can lead groups of people and we can do it together, and the right circles and stuff. So I had to balance that out. And now it's so great for me because I don't have to put anything on the market as a way of strictly money. And I had this inner dilemma that if I have a certain financial goal or whatever, I need money. I don't want to have to teach a class because I need money, or let me create a new service. Because now the situation of me needing the money, whether it's a good situation or a motivating situation, you know what I mean? I wrestled with that. Really, I'm telling you, I really wrestled with that until I found my wealth vehicle. And once I found my wealth vehicle, now I can come back and say, okay, if I do put something, it's because it's for my time, and that's fair. But I'm not dependent upon that. You know what I mean? So if you notice, you don't see me doing webinars for money and classes for money. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not in that space. Not that I won't be. I had to go and get something else, which is very vital. And when you understand the zodiac wheel, if we apply it in order, the second house, which is the first house is yourself in appearance, is you. The second house is the first thing you're supposed to learn outside of yourself. So the second grade, the second thing you're supposed to learn is finances and possessions. And and it makes sense because money it moves so fast, and it has so many different dynamics to it as far as the things that we need. It's an important thing to understand, and it's a beautiful journey. So much to learn about it. It's so much to learn about it. Deal structures and ROIs. If I tell you that, hey, you can get 30% of this deal, and now here go the rent profit. The rent profit is 600. You get 30% of that. 30% of the deal for 10 grand. Right? Let's just hypothetically say 30% of the deal for 10 grand. Now, when the rent hit, you get 30%, and it's 600 on the rent. Now you get 30% of that. What number is that? There go 180. Now, on a yearly basis, 180 times 12, what is that? And then what is the return on your investment percentage-wise that you just did? So if you do, let's just say, for simple math, 200 times 12 is 2,400. So if you did 2,400, I think 180 times 12 is 1,500, right? Yeah, I bet you it's 1,500. So 180 times 12 is 1,500. You put up 10 grand. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, what's your return on investment right there? You see what I'm saying? It's going to be about 15%, right? So about 15% ROI on your bread. And you got 30% of the deal. You see what I'm saying? And this is life. Like it's those things that we need to understand. We got to understand those things. You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm at right now, man. You know what I mean? So the Prosperity Investment Group, Family Wealth Club, and let's merge spirituality with physical prosperity and make some moves and go forward. Especially now, because this is a time where you get that you get that refund, and the refund has to be about, because it's totally, to a degree, it's unexpected. Meaning you've been paying your rent, you've been paying mortgage, you've been paying car notes, and please don't make the mistake of doing the things you normally been doing to make those payments. Like you're taking away, and you're missing the ball. We got to be able to use this energy, because it's a currency, to redirect it in a way that's going to start to benefit us. Okay. And you just got to start with where you at. And opportunity begets more opportunity, because if it's plenty of people out there. And I'm gonna talk about this Sunday in our main webinar that's willing to take $500. But think about this: $500. Let's say they get a 10% return a year. That's only $50 a year. So you might mean, there ain't nothing. What the hell I'm gonna do with $50 a year? Yeah, because it was only $500. It's 10%. But if I drop 500,000 and I'm getting 50,000 a year, which is damn near almost the equivalent of a check for like $1,000 a month, it's probably gonna be $833 a week. Rather, I'm sorry. If I almost make 52,000 a year, that's the equivalent of $1,000 a month. Always hitting. But I had to give up $500,000 to get that. And so it's still a 10% return, which is great. So like I tell people, you can't get mad at the output. You have to control what you put in. The input's going to determine the output and whatnot. Okay. So I don't know, man. It's like 200. It's go to myastrologycoach.com. It's on the site, man. Myastrologycoach.com. So let me answer El Moro Picasso's question and we up out of here. How does precession play on the zodiac system? Since the earth has moved, since the same constellations that were fixed then are not the same, what are your thoughts? Right. So the earth has moved. We're forever precession for moving. And now they say we are in the age of Aquarius. I would agree, simply because Aquarius rules technology. And look in the world we in. We in Uber, we in Uber Eats, we just in the age of technology. Finally got electric cars popping. So I would agree with the age that we in. Plus Aquarius is the weirdo. And if anybody's going to allow you to, if any sign is going to change the status quo of government, where people can be free to be themselves and love who they want to love, and it's going to be Aquarius. So you can just look at the landscape of humanity, where we at, and agree that we in the age of Aquarius. So to me, that shift doesn't. It plays a role, but it don't play a role. It don't cancel out anything, but it makes, to me, I'm more impressed or more concerned about everybody taking their respective stations. And so now, if we were to, in Freemasonry, the lodge is supposed to represent the universe, supposed to. So the worshipful master sits in the east because the sun rises in the east, but it's really the earth spinning in the eastern direction. This is why Muslims face the east. And then in the south, there's the junior warden, where the sun appears at its highest point in the day, and we can reflect on the beauty of the sun because it's at the highest point. And then there's the senior warden in the west, who is there to give some balance and equilibrium. He sits directly across from the worshipful master in the east. And there's nobody in the north, because only 6 signs are visible to us at all times. The other 6 you can't see, because that part we haven't spent in the direction of those 6. So the north, like right now, is dark. When the sun is in the north, you can't see nothing. You can't see nothing in the north. You follow the North Star. You don't see the zodiac signs in the north. You can see the zodiac signs in the east, the south and west, but you can't see it in the north. Anything past the west, man, you ain't gonna see it. So the Masonic Lodge is supposed to represent celestial movements. Since we're in the age of Aquarius, then Aquarius should be on the ascendant. It's the energy that's ushering in. So that's first. So then now you start to build respectively. All the signs start to fill in. So if Aquarius is, right here on the first house, you know what I'm saying? Then who's up before that? You see what I'm saying? Then it's going to be what Capricorn should be right here on the 11th. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, it could be right here on the 12th. And then you just keep, then Sagittarius can be right here on the 11th. And then on the 10th, it's going to be Scorpio. And then you can just start filling it all the way in. And everybody grab their respective stations as, you know, when you play the processional clock. Because we all got our personal charts. I'm a Cancer rising. But when we play the procession clock, you know what I'm saying? I think it's more about understanding what your station is. Without a shadow, I know that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So Scorpios right now are in the south. They're at the highest point in the sky. And if you notice, Scorpio is about the hidden secrets. And now the 10th is about public domain. Everybody can see because it's in the 10th. It's at the top. So now all the secrets are revealed. You see what I'm saying? Which is interesting because Taurus is now at the bottom in the north, in the most hidden, and at the darkest, and Taurus is the money. And even though we're living in the most expansive time ever in creation, and people are, you know, I read something, there's 1,500 millionaires every day, 1,500 millionaires in the United States every day. But our psychology about money is very dark still for the overwhelming populace. It's a dark place for people financially because the fourth house, which is 6 o'clock on the wall clock, is hidden. That stuff is at the very, lack of better words, at the bottom. It's hidden. So to answer your question, and more of the procession, I think it's more because that's a global thing. Well, more of a galactic thing. So it's about us taking our respective stations and understanding what our role and contribution is from that sign to the world as a whole. All right. What up, Lance? What's good, man? All right. So any opinion on house systems? House systems, I like what did they say? Placidius or Placidius. You guys excuse my French. I like to say I'm dyslexic. Me personally, I don't do even house. Not when it's event sensitive. Simply because we don't live in an even house. We don't live in an even house world. Meaning right now, if you know, let's just say 13 degrees Cancer is rising. It ain't 0 degrees Cancer. It's, you know, the universe is moving tick tock, degree by degree. It's 360 degrees in a circle. So I don't put everything as even. You know, if we're saying, hey, the east, look, the eastern portion of the sky is the ascendant to the 12th house. That's east. I mean, I'm sorry, to the 10th. Yeah, to the 12th. Yeah, that's east, because when the sun come up in the morning, that's due east, and then it starts to move to the right, and it starts to go, when you move to the right, when you're facing east, you start to go towards the south direction. So when you do east, this is my east right here, like those first 30 degrees in the zodiac sign, that's the 12th house. And let's just say that my ascendant is right here and my 12th house is right here, a zodiac sign has 30 degrees and is constantly ticking because everything is moving. And so my 11th house don't fall on 0 degrees Aquarius. It could be 3 degrees Aquarius. It could be 3 degrees, you know, Libra. You know what I mean? It's constantly ticking. This thing is like a combination lock. There's a time when everything do line up evenly and where things are supposed to be. And then there's a time where it keeps on ticking. The laws of motion is going to allow everything to eventually line up. And then eventually they get out of sync again. Like Saturn is at home in Capricorn right now. But in a few, it's about to be out and about to go to Aquarius. Then it's going to retrograde and come back, and then it's going to go forward again. So things line up. So I'm a fan of real time in a sense, and I like that house system. It works because those houses are real, and I know they're real, and I don't play with them. I like houses more than I like planets, and because I like houses more than I like signs, shall I say? Because the house is the area space of where the zodiac sign naturally rules. So if the seventh house is Libra and relationships, that's the western portion of the sky. It don't matter if you got Sagittarius there. It don't matter what sign you have there. That sign just simply says, I have to bring this energy into my relationship. So the seventh house is still the freaking relationships, period. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. The sign modifies and get to tell you how to, tap in. But I'm a fan of the house, of just give me the space. What is the space? You see what I'm saying? All right. All right, man. That was a nice build, man. I love kicking with y'all, man. Let me get out of here. And yeah, man. Subscribe, share with a friend. Visit me, man. Join me, man. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Tomorrow, I got the gas company over there, about to turn the gas on over to my first rental project. You know what I'm saying? Making some serious progress in this real estate space, man. And I really want the family to be a part of that. Let's build family wealth and get it from the gutter with each other. You know what I mean? And that's what I like to do. All right. So get at me, man. TheProsperityInvestmentGroup.com and holla at y'all. Peace.